2024 looks like it'll be really healthy. We are coming out of the pandemic and licking our wounds a little bit from that experience, but 2024 has got some good bookings ahead of us. Some of the people coming and chartering boats have vast experience with their own boats in other jurisdictions, and some people are trying to get qualified in order to operate a boat. And so that's when the sailing schools come in as a way for them to close the gap between their current knowledge level and what they need in order to charter a boat in this area. Risk management is by far the biggest challenge facing our industry, making sure that the boats are well prepared before they go out to sea, but also making sure that the guests that go on the boats have been well trained prior to assuming command of those. Moorage continues to be a constrained resource, and charter companies are looking for moorage that's appropriate to contain their fleet. Particularly some of the form factors of boats change as multi-hull boats become more popular. There's a different configuration needed in some marinas to accommodate those. Particularly in some of the remote areas, manpower is continuing to be a difficult challenge. Some people are moving to the remote areas in order to enjoy a lower cost of living, but in some cases the facilities don't exist to haul boats. When an incident does happen on a boat, the cost of getting that boat repaired is continuing to escalate. And so it not only does it take the boat out of service for charter, but it also results in some long delays and expensive processes. Well, there's a real variety of sailing school options and powerboating school options, and I think it's incumbent upon the chartering guests to know what they want to achieve. Do they want to charter only in North America? Do they want to go to Europe and charter? And does the credential that they're seeking apply to those jurisdictions? We are witnessing some new trends. People are trying to aspire to get out on the water more frequently. They're trying to do it economically, and in some cases chartering is a good way to experience a variety of boats before selecting on the one that you'd like to own. I love to see people come back renewed and refreshed. People leave with these titles and concerns in their day-to-day life, and they come back as somebody that took their family and friends to sea and brought them back safely. That's exciting to see.
What kind of year was it? Well, it was our first full year under the guise of the luxury tax. So because of that, new boat sales have definitely fallen amongst all brokerage ships. To what degree, I don't know, but I would say quite severe. Used boats, of course, are still moving very well. So that side of the market is still strong. Small boats, those that are underneath the cap of the luxury tax, are also moving very well. So that's strange. There's a shift in the market. Younger people buying smaller boats that are more affordable, or people just buying that they can get their hands on. It's hard to say. Other than that, I would say the used boats again are very strong. Our problem now is finding good used boats. The supply seems to be drying up a bit, but we all have to be optimistic. Our biggest challenge, of course, is and ongoing will be this luxury tax. It's just very difficult to convince the general public. Now, there is some misunderstanding out there how it's applicable and who it's applicable to, and that's just a question of us having to educate the general public on what applies to the tax. And also on top of that, the government seems to be somewhat changing the rules in the middle of the game, because there are some rulings that have shown up that we weren't aware of that are quite different than what we thought was the actual tax and how it was written. So we get past the uncertainty, we'll work on it, but it is still a major concern for most brokerage firms to bring in brand new boats and to hold them on inventory when the public doesn't want to pay that extra money for an item that they could have got a few years ago without having to pay for it. Other than that, I think 2024 is going to be a good year. I want to be optimistic. I have to be. Still like coming to work because it's nice meeting people who want to be happy in their life and get out on the water.
Well, 2023 was another very good year for marinas and for the marina sector in general. We are consistently seeing this, and I feel like a bit of a broken record speaking about how the sector's been doing, just because it does quite well year over year, and that's really just extended into the 2023 and also for 2024. The challenges that we do see that are continuing to be the same ones but they are expanding in the sense that they're happening more frequently, is more marinas do need to be redeveloped, more marinas do need to be renovated, and so that does mean dealing with some of the bureaucratic agencies, the government agencies, to get these projects approved and get them get the reinvestments to occur again. And those do take time to get done. So those are some of the challenges ahead, but it's been a very strong year again. So when we look at the marina sector, it breaks down into two fundamentally different markets: the annual user, the annual client, and the transient client. The annual client or boat owner is one who has their boat in that market, they boat in that market, it's their home market and jurisdiction. The transient user is the visitor from the United States or other parts of the world visiting British Columbia, and they are looking for a totally different experience compared to the local boater. Now, the needs are not that dissimilar though. So for example, marina infrastructure that needs to be in place, amenities and services like laundries and showers, restaurants, pubs, provisioning capacities for groceries or for ice or for liquor, all those things should be in place for some of the needs that most clients are going to want. There's a lot of opportunities for marina owners and operators to be considering. So when we think about what makes a marina successful, what makes any business frankly successful, obviously location is number one, and marinas are no different. So you want to be in a great location. That's one. The second though is, even if you are in a remote location, what's going to attract people is going to be your level of service, your quality of service, the people who are on your team, because those are the ones that are going to be servicing and looking after your clients. And that's what's going to make it a memorable experience for boaters to come there. Without question, it will be memorable for them to be boating in these wonderful waters that we call our south coast of British Columbia. There's no question about that. But it will also be that human interaction, those relationships. And it's up to our teams that are working in our marinas and engaging with boaters to foster, nurture, and develop those relationships.